Hi everyone, this is Sharon. I am back today to share some Christmas journals with you that I've been working on the past few weeks. It's a beautiful sunny fall day in Wisconsin today, and I'm going to try to get through this fairly quickly because I've had to move my dining room table 3 times already in prep for filming this video because the direct sunlight keeps coming in, and this is usually where I film. So these first 3 Christmas journals, I'm going to do these all in one video, flip throughs. I wanted to do something different for the closures since they are Christmas winter themed journals, and I thought nothing seems cozier and more wintry to me than a sweater or something that is knitted or crocheted. And so that's what I did. I made closures. These 2 I knitted and this one I crocheted, and they just give me that warm, cozy sweater, coffee cup by the fireplace feeling. So the nice thing about these closures is since they are yarn, they are stretchy, so you can fill them up to your heart's content, and the closures will stretch as the journal expands. This one, I think I'll just talk about these all at one time. This one I made with some vintage toggle buttons, and this one has some neat, they feel like shell type buttons. And this one has leather buttons. I really like those too. So I think I will start. Oh, the other thing I want to mention, all 3 journals come with some altered envelopes, and I altered each one of these and filled them up with some goodies, some extra papers, coordinating papers, and some date stickers that you can use if you're using these as December dailies. So just some extra things that you can embellish, make tags, whatever you want with those. So this one goes with this journal, and this one, oh, I got that wrong. This one goes with this journal. This one goes with this journal. And this one goes with this journal. So I will set those aside, start with this one. Take that off. All of these journals, which is my normal style, is to repurpose an old book. So this one is made from a Christmas book called The Romance of a Christmas Card. And I just love this cover. It's got a beautiful illustration on there. It is in excellent, excellent condition. I don't know that it was used a whole lot. So inside, I kept the original illustration that was on the inside cover. I've used a number of digital kits throughout all of these Christmas journals, and I will put the links to those down below rather than try to remember which one came from where. There's probably typically about 4 different kits that I used in each one of these. The signatures are covered with some scrapbooking paper. That's usually the first page of each signature. This is the title page to this particular book, and it is a 1916 publication. I kept these fairly clean. Here's a notes page, so that you can do a lot of note-taking, putting in of photographs. This is a book page from this book. I've also incorporated some pages from a vintage 1960 women's magazine. It was a Christmas edition. It had some really nice illustrations and pictures in there. And the paper is really nice and thick, and it's a matte finish, so I really like those. Incorporated some ledger paper with some pockets. This middle section is actually, came from an art book that had some winter art in it, so I just did a little bit of stenciling on there. Added some beads in the interior of the signature. Here's another pocket. And Some collaging in the back with dictionary pages and napkins. And these are digitals. This is also digital kit. In this pocket, I tucked a remnant of an old Christmas ornament box that I had. The box pretty much fell apart, but I thought it would just be kind of a fun place to journal on the back or embellish it somehow. I did a little bit of stamping throughout as well. A little collage up here. This is a pocket. Got some ephemera in here. It's an old check from 1917. I included some pages from a macrame book that I have. I also, in all these journals, took some pages out of a book called Country Christmas. It's a book that I actually purchased back in the 80s. It was a series. I don't know if you can see this whole thing on screen, but it was a series of books that I bought back then, and one was called Country Christmas, and I took some pages out of it. I really haven't looked at it since then, but it's got some really nice illustrations in there, so I thought I would incorporate some of those. This one is candy containers. Added some ornaments onto that page. This is a little tuck spot. This is a page from that 1960 Christmas magazine. And I think it's about, is it spoons from Denmark? I'm trying to remember. Yes, Denmark spoons. I've also, for quite a few years, have had a scrapbook full of old Christmas cards from the 1930s and 1940s. And I've just hung on to it, haven't done anything with them, and I thought this was a good opportunity to use some of these. On a lot of them, the person actually listed the year that they received the card. So this is 1949. But the nice thing about these old cards is they're usually fold outs. So there's a lot of, I coffee stain these, but there's a lot of places to journal on these when you open them up. This is ledger paper that I stenciled. And I've got some plum velvet ribbon in the center here and a couple of pockets with some journaling cards that I did a little collaging on the back. More stenciling. This is just another place to journal. Put a vintage ticket stub on there. A little bit of stamping on the back of that one. Even these black and white pages that I've used throughout these journals are really fun places to journal. I think with a blue or green or red pen, just to go in between these lines would be a lot of fun. This is a belly band and a little place to journal as well. Tuck spot there. This is a little bit of my own artwork that I did with some acrylic paints. Painted some Christmas trees. Actually, they're just evergreens. They're not really decorated. This is a beautiful illustration from this book. Here's a tuck spot with an old Christmas card. Page from that Christmas book from the 80s. Did some stitching on there. This is actually a page from the book as well. And I just tuck that in there as a place to be able to do some journaling. I don't know if you can see this. This is a small graph paper. I also included some pages from a 1914 agenda, it was called. It's a French agenda. And I pulled out some December pages that were in that particular, it's kind of like a ledger book, I guess. And there's plenty of places on here to journal. I added a couple of tags to the center. And here I stuck handmade Christmas card in an envelope. You can keep that in here or give it away to someone. The card. And that's that journal. The next one, make sure I got this in the right spot. Okay, this book is also a Christmas book. It's called The Bird's Christmas Carol. I did not like the cover at all. It was a bright lime green. So what I did was I wrapped it in some scrapbook paper that had snowflakes on the front. And then I used a piece of denim from an old shirt that had some buttons on it, wrapped that around the spine. I think that coordinates well with the paper. This is also the first time that I've done exposed stitching on the spine, and I really like that look, so I'll probably do that some more. In this first signature, I've got one of those old Christmas cards. I love this one. It's so cute with the puppies on there. And it does fold out. This is another old Christmas card from that collection I have. Again, folds out. Put some straw paper on the back, so that's a nice place to journal. This is from that 1980s Christmas book. Added some ribbon. Pocket. I purchased some Italian papers from Roxy Creations and used those in different spots. I just love this paper. This is from that 1960 Christmas magazine. Some digitals. Did a little collaging here. I, punched this border out of some paper that I found at, I think it was a garage sale. And it had silver, shiny silver on one side and craft paper on the other. And it's been sitting in my basement for a long time, and I thought, oh, I need to get that out for some Christmas journals because it's got a nice little bling to it. I've got velvet ribbon there and a piece of an old Christmas card there. This is again from that French agenda. Added a couple of little tabs in the middle here. Here's again some of that Florentine paper. Little collaging with some lace, book spine. Love some pages, even though they have a design on them, it's a really nice place to journal. Here's another one of those handmade Christmas cards. Page from this particular book. A little bit of stamping. Velvet trim. This is a punched edge that you can actually use as a tuck spot. This is a sweet illustration from the book. Here's one of the old Christmas cards I have that I actually glued onto the page, and you can open it up and journal in there. Some stenciling, washi tape on the edge. This is a tuck spot with some punching on the edge here. This is a copy of an old Christmas card or a Christmas postcard that I had. Very wintry, and I just put some of the, fussy cut some of the snowflakes from this paper and put those on there. This is a pocket with a little label down there. This is from that 1960s magazine and just pulls out. Again, as I mentioned, these decorative pages are still a really wonderful place to journal. And this is just glued down. On this page, I've got an envelope made from an Edith Holden book page. I just embellished it with some washi tape and a doily. This again is some of that Italian wrapping paper, and I made a little tuck spot here, and it's got a little bit of ribbon. Another tuck spot. This is that some more of that Florentine paper, some straw paper on the edge. This is a book page that has a recipe on it. And this is some vintage wallpaper that I have, and that would be another good place you can do some journaling. This is a place that you can use for a tuck spot as well. And that's that one. And the last one is from a book called The Bird's Christmas Carol. Oh, I see my sun is peeking in. I'm gonna try to block it. Okay, this one, again, I did the exposed stitching on the spine. Hopefully you can see that. What I really liked about this look is it reminds me of some music paper, and it kind of echoes what's on the front of the cover here as well. And I just added some cheesecloth, a little bit of lace, and a digital on the front. And this book is from 1916. The last one I don't think I mentioned, but that is a 1929 book. Vintage Christmas card from 1933. I just like the idea that these are sitting in a scrapbook for many, many years and no one probably looked at them. Maybe they did, I don't know. But here's a way to repurpose them again. Bring them back to life. This is an old advertising piece from a 1960s magazine called Woman's World. Actually, no, this one is from, I believe this is from the 1930s. Pulled that out of a different magazine I had. This is some decorative trim, a digital, a book page from this particular book cover, little bit of washi. Here I put some ribbon tabs on. This is from that 1980s Christmas book. It had some pages on some old vintage ornaments that I thought were kind of neat. And then there's a recipe on the inside, and these are actually pockets on the inside. This talks about pie, so how appropriate. A little place to journal. 1937 that advertising piece was from. I love this illustration. This is a tuck spot with a punched edge. The French agenda page, or a book page from that book. Got some pockets here with a couple of tags that I embellished with some stamping and a little bit of stitching down the side. This is a page from, it's called The Coronet, 1945. I think it's kind of like a, I believe it's like a Reader's Digest sort of magazine. I don't know, it's got stories in it. I thought this was kind of a neat story about a man and the deer. This is a digital. Some more of the book pages. Reinforce those with some washi. Some stamping on these two pages. This is velvet trim and a button. And I put a pocket on this last page, and this is actually an old German postcard from 1948. Don't know what it says, but I think it says Merry Christmas on the front. And that's that one. So we've got 3 journals. Let's see, I guess these go together. And this one. I will have these up for sale on my Etsy shop if you want to check them out. And I really appreciate you hanging with me for this entire video. And thank you so much. Until next time, bye-bye.